So, for those of you who have been following the progress, um, you'll know that for the past 11 months I have been working on this account, my RuneScape 3 account that I love very dearly. Started off as a little project to do with my last bit of agility on old school RuneScape, and after traveling in 2019 and coming back, I decided to pursue it a bit further, a bit more seriously, and set myself the goal of max XP. And today I've achieved that, 5.4 bill XP. The worst part about this is that this was meant to be for closure, and really, I don't feel anything about it. It's just one less thing to worry about. But regardless, we're going to celebrate and crack open a beveragini, and I'm going to discuss in this short little video um, everything that went down with getting 5.4 bill XP and the bragging rights that I believe that I've earned um, with my performance on this fantastic version of RuneScape. So in 2019, when I started the account, I was inactive for the first 4 months of the year up until at least April 20th or something. Um, I was traveling around Europe. So I traveled from like February to the end of April, so nearly 3 months. And when I came back, I couldn't really be asked logging into old school RuneScape. I figured that I'd taken a pretty big break from it, and I was going to sort of grab that by the horns and just ride with it and just try and disconnect myself from the deteriorating state of the game, but mainly the community I was a part of. Um, so I used RuneScape 3 as sort of an outlet for that, where I could still play RuneScape but not have to deal with um, the negativity that came with some like community aspects of the game. So it was very much escapism from a previous form of escapism, which was a bit stupid. But this account was basically just maxed when I started playing on it again. It had a tiny bit of post XP, um, just mainly combats and some prayer and fire making, because I just used to sit at Vias whenever I had anything like AFK to do on on old school RuneScape on my Trickle account. Um, so yeah, I started off with Slayer, and that sort of got me hooked on it because I was experiencing a completely different sort of outlook on the game than I normally would have had. I was abusing alts and to some extent bugs as well. Majority of my early XP was gotten from things that have since been nerfed. 200 mil Slayer and my combats, range, defense, and magic were all gotten from the Moss Golem's safe spot that you could do with alts back at the start of 2019. And then they announced that they were going to be getting rid of One Tick Hunter, so I spammed that until I finished it, which took me like 3 weeks, which is really slow. I wanted to get that done in a week, but I just didn't have the time to commit to it. I I also I used Chrome Remote Desktop for a very large percentage of this account. Out of the 4K hours I played this year, I reckon at least 1.2K were done through Chrome Remote Desktop. The main things I did via Chrome Remote Desktop were my mining XP and my fishing XP, all at Prif Waterfall and Prif Stones. I did those whilst at work. I made some snarky tweet about it once, but oh, I also did some Abyssal Demons at work as well, but not a significant quantity to account for. Oh, and smithing. Yeah, I did basically all of my smithing at work as well. If you had rune plate body 4s and you did one hit on all of them to get the like unprocessed ingot thing, and then just left it to AFK with superheat form and a auto heater, you could AFK that indefinitely for about 2.5 hours an invent. So I did that at work a lot as well. So yeah, at least 1,200 hours were accounted for Chrome Wreck Desktop, which sort of helps to um, enforce or solidify how much I actually played for the year, with it being like at least over 4K hours. So this is the year, I believe. Sorry, OBS is kind of trash, so you just kind of make do. It's a 4.4 build year. It's got until April 20th, which is about 6 weeks from recording this video until it drops. Um, so, I could have made this even better, especially if I had some of the shit that I had left over to do now, such as prayer, because I could smash that out really quickly. Not really too much I want to talk about here. The double XP weekend that happened about 2 weeks ago is very much a bonus. That sort of helped finish crafting, which, for the record, was probably the skill I hated the most on this account. And it helped with fletching and construction. Construction also being another one of those accounts, but I think I had more of a rivalry with construction rather than a hatred for it. But with crafting, the over dependence on the bank interface for crafting, because the actual crafting process is so quick, just made me really hate the skill. You honestly spent about 70% of your time crafting and the other 30% just staring at the bank interface because of like lag and poor optimization. Thieving, I did very, very lazily. If I was in a different mindset, I would have done that a lot better, but I was at the end of my road to 200 mil ore, and also like the end of my patience, I guess you could say, as well with the game, because I just AFK'd it to hell. I could have been getting double the rates that I was getting, and I just chose not to. Yeah, I didn't like fletching very much either. But the rest was fine. The daily scape thing was something that I was quite keen to get rid of as soon as I could. I probably spent at least 2 months not doing dailies, and instead opting to just finish them outside of their daily methods. I did like a day. Actually, no, that's a complete lie. I did a week of just solid divination, so I didn't have to worry about doing caches for the rest of my max. And um, what else did I do? I did like another week of woodcutting whilst playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on my Nintendo Switch instead of worrying about daily resets. So there's definitely some optimization that could come with that, and the only one that really stayed faithful majorly was Dungeoneering. At the end of Dungeoneering, I just sank like 2, 3, 4 mil tokens or something into XP and just said, fuck it, I want it over and done with. Did consider buying floors, but I could not be asked with communicating with leeches, because the process in which that takes place is really stupid, and that applies for a lot of RuneScape 3 leeching services. They are very needlessly complicated and thus dissuade me from ever using them. Prime example is Barbarian Assault. Now, a lot of people would never even think about leeching it, but I had money and I wanted to get bonus XP in firemaking, but alas, there was like a huge wait list, and there's a definite market to be filled, as old school RuneScape has proven, with a premium service, i.e., skip the queue service, which I'm pretty surprised they haven't sort of chose to have, because I would have easily paid 15 GP instead of 10 GP to just leech it and leech it first. So instead, I had to rely on just people instead. Um, which leads me on to the topic of bonus XP. I did buy bonus XP with bonds. The main bulk of my bonus XP were divination, runecrafting, and woodcutting. Woodcutting I bought over 50 mil, which I mainly used at daily resets, but I used a tiny bit of it at Golden Bamboo. Runecrafting I bought over 45 mil, which was close to 46 mil actually, which was used for the 900k an hour souls method that I have on my YouTube channel somewhere if you want to go and dig that up. And probably about 25 to 30 mil bonus XP in div, just because fuck divination. Fuck cash. I hate cash. Majority of people who do cash are mentally disabled individuals, and I just hate it so much. So I paid an additional 200, 300 mil just to not have to deal with it, and sat at sat at ancestral energy for a week instead, because fuck cash. Actually, fuck cash. So bonus XP was traditionally bought at about 50 GP and XP on the Supernova promotions that came around with Mysteria every Wednesday. However, over Christmas they did a Mysteria Wednesday, or rather they did a Supernova Saturday or Supernova Sunday on one of the weekends in Christmas. And the whole perk of Christmas was that stars and lamps and things gave 50% more XP. So you have an item already giving 100% more XP, giving an additional 50% XP. So I bought 50 mil woodcutting and 45 mil runecrafting for the price of, a third, two-thirds of what it would have normally cost. So 33 GP and XP instead of 50, which was absolutely fucking insane. I liquidated every asset that I had when that came around, because I remember I came home from work, logged in, did my keys, and saw it, and I was like, oh my god. And honestly, everything I had, I sold. Like my fucking pure essence I had to save for rune crafting, my runes that I'd made from rune crafting, my like any gear that I had left over, torstal sticks, literally anything besides like untradeable double XP weekend prep that I had in Herblore at the time, and things like that. Everything I just sold. I remember having about 6 mil to my name for a good while because I just had sold everything I could to do that promotion, because it was absolutely ridiculous. So the bonus XP really didn't cost as much as I was planning for it to cost. But that leads on to the topic of money. So money was when I was maxing this account, money was infinite. It did not have any question. But with this account, oh fuck, even with this account, I couldn't afford um, um, to fund it indefinitely just from old school wealth. So I swapped about a bill and a half from my trickle account, which was basically all that I had on that account. That account has nothing on it now. It has Gingbino's clue tab from his 5,000 clues, and that is it. Everything else is a placeholder, and that helped me disconnect from that account and the game as well. So it's kind of a win-win for me. But I had about 1.5 bill swapped, which was over 7.5 bill rs3. I had an additional 2.5 bill probably come from the account, the same account, totaling 10 bill. doing some Rune Dragons prior to that. And I remember one day logging in thinking, right, I'm going to go for this. Because I was getting to like the end of my non-viable skills, and I remember saying to Enlund, the guy that I swap with, just thinking, I'm going all in. I'm going to go all in with this, and fuck it, I'm doing it. Um, and swapped, yeah, 10 bill total with him, rs3. And then after that, I sort of got into the whole Spiritual Warriors account grinds. I ran 3 of them for the majority, which is not a lot, but 10 mil an hour TVC is pretty damn nice. And um, I just used basically all of that money, which was at least an additional 10 bill. There's a few, I've got about, yeah, 1.3 bill left in some of these token events because of the master crafting things that I used to finish everything off. But I got a little bit left over. That's like just over 200 mil rs3. Old school, sorry, like 250 mil rs3. That are just going to sit there that I might use for archaeology in the future. So yeah, I think all in all, maxing cost me about 16 to 17 bill, 18 at a push. I'm not sure what it would cost now because herb law's a thing, and those new potions are crazy. Yeah, I guess I could talk about archaeology. I do not want to do archaeology as soon as it's released. I will most probably do it once things have sort of been worked out and people have finished it. I don't want to be part of the stress and the chaos that comes with racing for first to max. I've had my fair share of that sort of stress, so I don't want to be a participant, but I do want to be an observer. So I'm looking forward to observing it, but not participating in it. I wanted to finish before archaeology, and I did. I am more than happy with that. And I guess just for the record, I could talk about this, which is a learning resource via Based Marina. This was basically what I determined the rates to be throughout the entirety of my maxing. I did vias with bonus XP, which was like 600k fire making an hour, but the fire making wasn't really part of it. It was mainly for the prayer, and then the additional fire making that I did was like nearly 6 mil an hour with a pitch can, so that was easy. Sailfish, I AFK'd because I'm lazy. Like attack and strength were through mainly vias, a bit of defense through abyssal demons on my phone. I did arc and contracts and caches and shit like that for my div. My dungeoneering was 100% daily challenges and sinkholes. Farming was player owned farm, got nerfed halfway through and broke it a bit. Fishing was waterfall fishing with Chrome Remote Desktop, so that was 0 time basically. Fletching was with Rune Darts, which was like did about 60 mil on double XP, and the rest I just did whilst not doing anything else, I guess. Overloads, I made the extremes off double XP and the overloads on double XP. Off double XP was like a mil an hour, and then on double XP making overloads was like over 8 mil an hour, so it's pretty good. Ornate Tortles I mentioned doing before the nerf, they were over 1.8 mil an hour, they were fucking awesome. Moss Golems, as I mentioned, Saurian Stones for mining, which is off my phone, more Vias, more Moss Golems. Solid with bonus XP, again shout out to Marina for that because there's an awesome method, really, really quick, really, really fun, really, really expensive, but really good fun to do. Slay with the Sack Scrim, God knows how much money I lost out on that. Smithing was the Eldarin 4 bodies into +5, which I did completely off Chrome Remote Desktop. Summoning 16 mil an hour on my first double XP weekend. I won the EE competition for both summoning and construction, which in turn made both of those 200 mils not cost me anything. Thieving, I AFK'd at Wilderness Sace, which I could have easily gotten over, 1.5 mil an hour if I multi-skilled it with fletching as well. But I didn't, I was just too lazy. And then use I did with bonus XP. Reset. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Before I go, huge shout outs to my three, possibly four huge people who like influenced the way I played. Enlin, he swapped all my old school. Shout out to at Enlin underscore. Enlin swapped all my old school for rs3. Absolutely fantastic. A guy called Vegito, who is the only person who posts in Efficiency Experts Market. He basically sold me 5.4 and he got me my rafts every week, which was a huge thing. Um, over 60 rafts, I think, from that guy. Huge. No, can't be. Over 50 rafts from that guy. Huge deal. Marina, definitely the predecessor. Would have beaten my year into the ground, beat everything that I did into the ground, but decided to stop playing about 90% of the way into tournament. So I figured I finished this for them. And I guess Ned. Love Ned Flanders. Shout out to Ned Flanders because he's the reason I even played the game to begin with. So thank you. 5.4 bill. I'm now going to be pursuing my 2013 only account fully, as if I wasn't already. And yeah, going to be having a good time with that. But thank you very much for watching and have a lovely evening. Goodbye.